Welcome to Achieving Student Outcomes Through Cooperative Learning, Section 3, Part 4, Introduction. If we were completing this activity synchronously, we would assign roles, reporter/recorder, and materials handler. The activity directions have been revised for our remote learning experience. You will work with a new partner, preferably someone you have not worked with previously. Please remove the interpersonal skill debriefing practice sheet from your course folder. Open your participant manual to pages 106 through 111. These pages have answers you can share. You will now go to Canvas, Modules, Section 3, Part 4, Interpersonal Skill Debriefing Practice Discussion Area. In the Google Doc for your partnership, you will find 3 situations. Your job is to decide together how you will debrief them. Write 3 debriefing questions in your Google Doc. So here is our first situation. You have asked students to be pals today and work on all the pals concepts simultaneously. So they have done their work and now you are debriefing. Come up with 3 debriefing questions you can ask them. Here is situation 2. You have taught and assigned the interpersonal skill of helping without giving the answer. Again, you're coming up with debriefing questions. Here is situation 3. You have taught and assigned the interpersonal skill of check for others' understanding. Remember, you are asking debriefing questions. Please turn to the back of your interpersonal skills debriefing practice form to the Debriefing the Interpersonal Skills debriefing section. Please respond to questions 1 and 2. If there are any questions, please do not hesitate to contact your instructor. We are going to do a retention check on your understanding of the steps in debriefing the interpersonal skills. Please close your manuals. When you debrief the interpersonal skills, what are steps 1, 2, and 3 in the debriefing process? To help you remember, we discussed steps 1 through 6. Step 5 was optional, and in step 6, we placed information in student folders. See page 104 if you are really stuck. What are steps 4, 5, and 6? What are some of the categories of debriefing questions or statements you can create? For example, one category is forced choice. The next question, what's the funniest joke you can think of? The last question, what has been your most memorable moment this school year? Please turn to page 104 for steps 1 through 6 and see how you did. I hope you enjoyed the serious questions and the lighthearted questions. Please turn to page 114 where you will see the final step in the 3D lesson debrief subject matter. Please locate and remove the 3D lesson design form from your supplemental packet. What debriefing questions did I ask for the 3D lesson on cooperative learning research? Rate your group on a scale of 1 to 9 for its effort to invite participation. What did you hear or see that would tell you that group members were inviting participation? In what other places, events, circumstances, or situations in life would it be important to invite participation? The last line on the 3D form, next time I would, is provided so that you can make notes to yourself for the next time you do this lesson. What would you change? Please read Steps to Debrief subject matter on page 114. There are things you can do with the whole class to determine how well groups completed their tasks before you give students debriefing questions or statements to respond to. What you have the class do depends on the rope that you built into your subject matter directions. You might hear group reports, correct papers out loud, give a test, or randomly ask group members to report. You would then move on and ask students individually or in groups to respond to debriefing questions or statements. Again, you can see how well the questions for life lend themselves to debriefing questions for subject matter, just as they did for debriefing interpersonal skills. For step 3, you could do a combination of individually written responses, or you could do starters where individuals share in small groups. Then you could also hear from small groups or from the whole class. You would always do step 1 if you have built in rope. You would do steps 1, 2, and 3 as a progression if you have time. If you don't have time, you would have groups report if you build in rope, and then choose either step 2 or step 3. Step 4 is a very important step. Groups need to honor each other for their efforts even if the celebration is as brief as giving high fives to each other. There may be some overlapping of debriefing interpersonal skills and debriefing subject matter because they act as cause and effect. They are interwoven as students work. Treat them separately even if there is only a fine line between them. Silently read pages 114 through 116, examples for debriefing subject matter. Please turn to page 116, Debriefing Subject Matter Practice. You will write debriefing statements for the situations I will be giving. In each of the situations, step 1 in steps to debrief subject matter has been completed. Groups have reported or taken tests, and now you are giving them debriefing statements or questions to respond to. The first scenario is on the slide. Please pause the narration until you answer the prompts. Some possible answers you may consider. If you could start your float over, what changes would you make? List 5 things you learned about another country. How are these countries alike or different? What grade would you give your float? Remember, these questions or statements would be shown to the students before they did their 3D lesson, so they would not be surprised by them when they got to the debriefing stage. Please see practice scenario 2 on the screen and then respond to the prompt. Possible answers could include: what are some methods you use to solve your problems? What unique ways to solve the problems did your group come up with? And what problems were you having? How did you solve them? Pat yourself on the back to celebrate your awesome accomplishments. Right now, we have a journal entry. Please turn to page 117 and open Assessment 3, Reflection Connection. Write the topic heading on the next available page, Debriefing. Here is the prompt. What are your insights and feelings about debriefing? The rest of this session will be for you to work independently through the material. There will now be narrated PowerPoints on Canvas, Modules, Section 3, Part 4, to walk you through the rest of today's activities. Please be sure to post the activities in the discussion area or submitted assignment area before our next class. Remember, even though these activities are not graded, they must be completed to report your successful completion to your university partner. Immediately after this introduction, please return to Canvas, Modules, Section 3, Part 4, the Cooperative Learning 3D Model. Your first video will explore Course Portfolio Part 1, where we will be introduced to Assessment 6. You will then delve deeper into the 3D lesson format to prepare for 3D lesson practice. Your third video explains how we will conduct the Expanding Expertise Exchange. And finally, we will review Course Portfolio Part 2, which introduces us to Assessment 7. Please remember to go to Canvas Assignments to find the 8 graded activities for this course. Don't forget to check off that you have completed all section activities, including your section reflection. If you have any questions while you work, please call or email your instructor. This concludes Section 3, Part 4, Introduction. Please continue to Modules Section 3, Part 4, the Cooperative Learning 3D Model, Course Portfolio, Part 1.